Everyone dreams of living an uncommon life, and the best asset you have to achieve your dreams is you. Welcome to the Uncommon Wealth Podcast. We're going to introduce you to people who are living uncommonly. We're also going to give you some tools and strategies for building wealth and for pursuing an uncommon path that is uniquely right for you.
Hello and welcome everybody to the Uncommon Wealth Podcast, where I'm your host, Philip Ramsey.
And I'm Aaron Kramer.
Thanks for tuning in. Hey, we have a fun one, kind of an interesting one today.
It's different.
It's a different one. And I really want to build a practice that is fully transparent with our listeners, with our clients, everybody. Yep. And so this conversation is one that I've had with many of you listeners, if you're clients.
Yeah.
But some of your listeners that are just kind of on the peripheral, if you will, have no idea what just happened. So let's just talk through it. First things first, let's just sticker shock this thing out. Brian is no longer with Uncommon Wealth Partners. Yeah. So as hard as that was, let me just give you a story. Like, he came to me and said, hey, I have a once in a lifetime opportunity. I want to be bought out of the practice. And so it commenced the 10 and a half years that we've been together trying to figure out what's the best way to kind of unwind this and value it and make sure everybody is happy and it's fair. And as hard as it was, because I mean, as you guys know, he's been in this whole thing.
You guys have been together for a long time. That was like a divorce.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But I'm excited for Brian and want to just kind of honor him in this podcast and kind of like talk through, what's the new normal now here at Uncommon Wealth. And I will say that we have a rock star team that's staying here at Uncommon Wealth. 80% of the team is staying here to be able to serve clients like we've done yesterday and always have done.
And to give the listeners though, real quick, I know you tell people this, you always tend to leave out the important part is both of you gave everybody a choice if we wanted to stay.
Yeah. Our team.
So, because you even said hey, I can find you different, and all of us,
right?
80% of us were like, no, we want to stay with Uncommon.
Yeah. So that was a huge honor. And this is something that you don't really want to, you didn't sign up for. The team didn't sign up for something like this. And obviously this was a shock to us, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I just wanted to make sure that everybody felt like they were, one, appreciated, and two, they knew that they didn't have to go down this path if they didn't want to, because this is what they signed up for. Yeah. And the analogy I gave was a whitewater raft. Like, hey, we're going down this river, and around this bend is going to be some white water that you never really signed up for. And we can't really see it, but we can hear it. Sounds pretty gnarly. And so if you want me to paddle over to the shore and help you out of this boat, I totally will. And meaning I'll try as hard as I can to get you a new job. And all of them said, give me the paddle. Let's go. Which is giving me goosebumps, but that's cool. And an honor, right? That our clients understand and have been bought into this mission at Uncommon Wealth Partners to serve people in such a capacity to help them and move forward. And so, man, what a cool thing. So let me kind of tell you, one, we have a unique team, and each one of them has such a unique gift that they pour in, and then they help clients, propel forward. So that's powerful, and that they're staying is really awesome. And then we want to build a collaborative kind of partnership, not only with our team, but our clients. And we've done that with our clients for a long time. But I'll tell this story quick. So the University of Iowa does a really cool thing for their patients. They're a hospital in healthcare, but they have pods, they're called. And when you first go in as a doctor, you get assigned a pod. And each pod has a different set of specialists. Dermatologists, oncologists, and I can't even the whole team, surgeon, and all these things, whole team. Well, when you're a client of one of those doctors, your client patient type will be put up on the screen, and the pod will talk about your case. And each one of them brings their own expertise into that case to say, well, hey, I don't see that Dr. Smith, I see this from my experience. And then they're all in one area or Zoom or whatever they do, and they get to talk about that
and collaborate.
Yes, that's the key. And so when anybody goes to University of Iowa, they get this collaborative approach, but they're only working with one doctor. And the powerful thing about that is that everyone's talking about your case to try to give you the best recommendations that they can to try to give you, the most successful path.
Well, the powerful thing about that, real quick, like I love about it, is you read studies and you see all these professionals, and go to like an old professional. It's like 60, right?
Yeah.
And what is the number one thing we find out? They are old, they're smart, they're experienced, but they're stuck in their ways.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
So how do we deviate from that and help prevent that? Because we all do it. We're all human. We find a way. We find a few ways to really work things. And maybe that's the cutting edge at the time you started it.
Yes.
But 20 years down the road, it's not.
It's changed. Yeah.
But like you get so comfortable in doing something one way, and through this model that you're creating here at Uncommon,
right,
it challenges us.
Right.
Make us see it in different ways.
Right. You get to vet it in different angles because we all have different expertises.
Yep.
And that's what we're building. And so over this course of the last couple of weeks, just going through each one of our current clients' plans in this way has been awesome.
So great.
And I feel like our clients are like, wow, like, thank you for this different perspective. And so that's kind of the vision of Uncommon Wealth moving forward in that. So obviously Brian has unique gifts as well. And we're going to take those and what we learned from him, and then we're going to start implementing those in that way of just like, hey, this is exciting, but we also have a team too that we've learned from Brian, and now we're going to go past that, and he's no longer here. And so something I have said to each one of our team members, and this is to Brian as well, like, hey, our practice won't be the same without Brian. But that doesn't mean it doesn't have to be as good. It's just different. So if any one of our teammates leave us, it won't ever be the same, but we'll have to adapt and overcome, which is basically the Uncommon Life story, right? Like building a business, understanding business. And so we are practicing what we are preaching today, and we're adapting and growing and learning. So it's been a challenge, but it's also been kind of life-giving too. And we're all in the boat paddling as hard as we can. And I love this because at some point, no matter in what Uncommon Life, you're going to get overwhelmed. Yeah. And there was a time in this whole kind of like negotiation of Brian and I, like, I was just like, I was down, and I texted the whole team, like, having a rough day, and they were all like, what do we need to do? Like, Aaron, you called me. Ashley called me. Haley was like texting, like, what do you need? And what a gift that is to be able to be honest and have a team that like is ready to collaborate. All
there for each other. I mean, it's like one of those things. Yeah. Like Brian has his gifts, and we all loved him, and we all wish him the best. But this is like the difference when you have a team that really works well together. And the effect of okay, what did Brian do well? Yep. Where do we need to pick up slack, and where are we missing now that he's leaving? Right. Because you were by his side the whole time. Yes. And I know you got, me being here, coming in, bringing my book in, and joining up with you guys for a year is fascinating to watch you guys. And on my own, these are my own personal things, but I was like, I see you just like, build him up, and even in like appointments or events, they'd make you like not be the numbers guy. And I was always just like, what? I don't understand, because we'll be all, I know clients will see this and listeners will see this, but like we'll be behind scenes and we'll rattle off numbers. And I have like here, I feel like I'm pretty good with numbers. I'm pulling out my, calculator, and Philip's like, it's this. I'm like, is it? No, yeah, you're right. And my calculator says you're right. So it's like, you are a numbers guy. You're such a good team player that you're easy to let people put someone in their role, which I think is amazing. But the point of this was like, we found an area that like Brian was really good at. And I admit it, like coming in and watching all you guys' superpowers, like Brian was amazing with that. He was. The way he can organize that and stuff. But we mentioned as a team, it's like, okay, like here's the gap, like guys, and like, and you have, being by his side, you've learned 85% of his tricks and his trades. And
my analogy is like Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. Like Dr. Watson is always around Sherlock Holmes, and eventually like Dr. Watson does get to glean a lot of information. Exactly. So now we're kind of implementing that. Yeah. And it's been really cool just to see the whole team step up and like, well, here's my superpower. Like, what? Like, that's amazing. So that's been life-giving. I also want to honor Brian in this way. Brian and I were the primary providers for both of our families. And starting a business from scratch is, one, the fact that we took it to where it was at and where it's at currently is such a big deal. Like there's not a lot of businesses that get off the ground just having one person provide for their family. So the fact that we did this with both of us providing primarily for our families was a big deal. And one thing that, I can't believe we did this, but we never took out debt.
That's crazy.
Not once. Now, we had a line of credit there just in case we needed it, but we never had to tap into that. Like, holy buckets. Like, even thinking through that, I'm like, how did that even possible? But God provided for us in a way that was like, looking back, is just really cool.
But it's cool because, I mean, you guys did what you preached, you know, like, like learning how you did invest in your business and stuff like that and get up and started. But it is crazy that you guys built what you guys built and being the only sole breadwinners of your families.
It is. It's crazy.
Because I know I built my practice, like I brought over, and I'm like, well, I'll tell you what, like, I wasn't paying my family much, and we were living off a teacher salary. So like, and it's not like I brought over a really tiny book. Like,
no, you were in the business for a while. Yeah. So like it's not easy to grow a business in this industry.
Yeah. And you guys did it.
So anyway, this wasn't expected, obviously. But life and business owner is rarely predictable. And we should often be thankful, and things shake us up because it challenges us to be better. And I don't know if the normal human nature is to be like, well, what kind of thing can I make my life harder?
Yeah.
And so sometimes you just get things that are hit, and then you have to adapt and overcome. Now, I feel like we're a quarter way into this race.
Yeah.
And we've got a long ways to go, but to see people unite in a common understanding and a common goal has been such an honor for me and encouraging.
Yeah, I'm excited. I was excited when I came over, and as much as it hurts to see Brian leave, because I was excited for what was to come, and now he doesn't get to be a part of that, but that's okay because he has his other opportunities that he's excited about. And that's like any team. Like, as much as you love a teammate, if they're not in love with the path is going, like, you know, you want them to be happy. And even though like you can see an amazing opportunity, like, or the value that they could bring to the team, but if they're not on board for that, I mean, it is one of those things you got to adapt. So, but like, dude, I'm so excited for where we're going. Like, all the conversations we're having, and I know you got to reel me in sometimes because you're like, not right now. I'm like, it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But,
it gives us a chance just to be our best. And these conversations that I'm having with, you know, past clients have been encouraging as well. Like, hey, we trust you. We know that you have our best interest at hand. And we like the future of what you're trying to build, of like this team approach, this collaborative thing for our benefit.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's funny because when you just think about one review, we've talked about this. One review, you would think that like, well, it's just an hour in front of the client. And we've done the math. It's like 4 to 8 hours before the review happens that our whole team is putting in and pouring in to people's plans because we want to be the best.
Yeah.
And obviously this is a different change. It's an audible, but audibles can almost be the most, like, the best thing for you in life.
Yeah.
And then just to be able to understand who are the people around you, who's supporting you, who's trusting you, and things like that. It's been a gift in part that I was like, I would never want to do this, but that's the whole story. And back to the beginning of this, I want to be transparent, and I want to be that firm that will talk about things and be open on and that. So if you have any questions, we're right here to answer those. Call and let's talk through those.
Transparency is amazing. I learned that like early on, and I know some people don't totally believe in that, which I'm like okay with. Like, finally, you can be the way you want to be, but I love the fact that, one, you as a leader is like amazing, but then to like also feel this transparency point, because it's like, you're gonna, like, when you get us.
You get us.
You won't find us if you go out to a restaurant or a party or something and you see us.
That's a good point.
Like, you won't be like, who is that? That is not my advisor.
Yeah.
No, instead of we're goofing off, roughhousing, doing whatever we're doing, like, you're like,
those are the people.
Those are my people.
Yeah. Like, we don't have two sides to us.
There's not two sides. You're going to get us.
That's a good point. And so this is the last story I'll say. It was over spring break that this whole thing kind of transpired.
Yeah.
And I asked the whole team, give me the list of all of our clients. And over spring break, I'll never forget it, Rosemary Beach, I'm in front of a coffee shop in the car because I was like, the coffee shop doesn't want to hear this conversation over 150 times. And I just called people for 3 days. I just called people. And I wasn't like, hey, you need to know this, I got to go buy. It was like, hey, this happened. We're right here. Yeah. What questions do you have?
I mean, you're rock star family.
And my rock star family, right? Like they sacrificed that, but they knew it was important to me that we had to call, we had to communicate. You know, like when things change in a relationship, the biggest thing that you can do is just communicate.
Yeah.
And so thank you for entrusting Uncommon Wealth Partners to be your advisors.
Yeah.
We couldn't be more excited about the future. Aaron Kramer, Ashley Fox, Haley Phillips, Ryan Garvey, all amazing people. Yeah. And we're excited to serve you. So thanks for listening. You've been listening to Uncommon Wealth Podcast. I've been your host, Philip Ramsey.
And I'm Aaron Kramer.
Talk to you later.
That's all for this episode, brought to you by Uncommon Wealth Partners. Be sure to visit uncommonwealth.com to learn more about our services. Don't miss an episode as we introduce you to inspiring people who are actively pursuing an uncommon life.